The long wait is over, and the Africa Twin has finally landed in America. This is Moab, Utah, and it's the ideal place to see if the Africa Twin lives up to all the hype. When the new Africa Twin was first spotted way back in 2014, adventure motorcyclists all over the world began to have a collective dream. A dream of a motorcycle that could do this, and this, oh, and this, and then back to more of this. The internet was demanding the impossible. They wanted a bike made of unobtainium that could do astonishing things. The Africa Twin was going to be light, super powerful, and best of all, affordable. Yeah, I want that bike too, but we live in the real world, not the fantasy land of internet forums. But even in the face of all that pressure, the 2016 Africa Twin has managed to be just about as close to the impossible as we're going to get, at a price we all want to pay. And in so doing, the Africa Twin is a winner. Let's start off talking about the weight. The Africa Twin weighs in at 511.7 pounds, kitted with the standard transmission, and 524.7 pounds with the automatic DCT system. When the weight specs were released, dual sport and light bike evangelists cried foul. But having ridden the 2016 Africa Twin in Europe and here in Moab, I can report that the Africa Twin does not ride like a heavy motorcycle. The sensation of riding the Africa Twin is more like being on a dual sport bike than any currently available adventure category machine. The Africa Twin, designated the CRF1000L, hides its weight so well because its mass is centralized in the chassis, giving it a relatively low center of gravity. Further enhancing the machine's light feel is the narrow, top-down profile at the saddle and around the knee area. Even at a stop, the whole machine is easy to rock side to side between your legs, giving the impression that the Africa Twin isn't just another heavy adventure bike. Honda is able to accomplish this by using a parallel twin engine over the previous Africa Twin's V-twin. The more compact transverse parallel twin motor allows heavy components like the battery and ABS controller to be tucked in low behind the cylinder heads. The CRF1000L's fuel-injected motor displaces 998 cc's and features a dual-spark ignition system. That, combined with its 270-degree phased crank, gives the motor the feel of the old V-twin without all the bulk. The result gives the Africa Twin great throttle feel and really connects you to what the rear wheel is doing, making rear-wheel steering and chugging up the most technical terrain a snap. The motor delivers 93.9 horsepower at 7,500 RPM and turns out a maximum torque of 61 foot-pounds at 5,750 RPM. While on paper that doesn't sound all that impressive, but the Africa Twin dishes out that power in a predictable, linear way that punches further up the revs with a satisfying dirt bike sounding brap. Its 21-inch by 2.15-inch front and 18-inch by 4-inch rear wheel beg you to take it off-roading. Our first day of testing the Africa Twin was on the road. The bikes were fitted with Dunlop Trail Max tires, front and rear. Under normal road riding conditions, the Africa Twin felt right at home on the pavement. At sane cornering speeds, the bike felt planted, and turn-in was about as good as you'd expect with a big 21-inch wheel out front. I found that when I got the bike way out on the edge of the tire, I could feel the front starting to lose its handle on the road. While feedback wasn't the problem, and I could feel when it was starting to give, it was enough to make me decide to take it a little easier through the twisties. It's worth pointing out that I didn't have the same front tire traction issues when I rode the Africa Twin in Italy, set up with Pirelli Scorpion Trail 2 tires. Where the Dunlop Trail Max front would start to slip when pushed out to the edge of the tire, the Pirellis had no such issue and held firm all the way to the edges. The fully adjustable Showa suspension is just superb over some of the toughest terrain. Up front, the 45mm inverted forks have 9 inches of travel, and the rear monoshock, attached to a sturdy dual-sided swing arm, has an 8.6-inch travel stroke. The Africa Twin suspension is perfectly tuned and easily gobbles up rocks and obstacles while never feeling springy or too soft, adding to the Africa Twin's dominance of the trail. For when it's time to stop, the Africa Twin's front 310mm floating dual wave discs and Nissan 4-piston calipers and rear 256mm wave disc deliver refined, powerful braking that's pretty much perfect on the road and off. In addition to offering a standard 6-speed slipper clutch operated version of the bike, the Africa Twin is also offered with Honda's DCT, or dual clutch transmission. The system has 3 primary modes. There's D, or drive mode, which shifts through the gears at less aggressive RPMs. There's S, or sport mode, which has 3 settings within it, with 3 being the most sporty or aggressive of those 3 subsets. And finally, there's a manual mode that allows you to shift on your own using push-button shifters located on the left-hand grip, front and rear. While it may sound complicated, the system is actually pretty easy to use. So, what is it like to ride? The first thing you have to get over is the missing clutch lever. On the road, I find myself reaching for it like a phantom limb, and feeling brief moments of terror when I tried to downshift for a corner. Once I remembered that I could grab a gear with the flick of my thumb, muscle memory soon took over, and letting the DCT do the work became second nature. On the road, I found that system didn't really feel all that additive. While it worked great, I was left feeling that I'd get more out of a bike with a standard transmission on the pavement than the auto shifter. Off-road, however, proved really capable. Off-road riders who are familiar with a Recluse clutch system will be right at home with DTC. Like a Recluse, DTC will never let you stall the engine, which is a huge advantage over technical sections, climbing, or very rough terrain where you have to feather the clutch a lot with a standard transmission. But unlike the Recluse centrifugal clutch, DTC actually does the shifting for you, and I found that it chose the same gear that I would want nearly all of the time. The system works so well that I would seriously consider purchasing an Africa Twin that had it over the standard transmission. Out of the box, the Africa Twin's ergonomics are very good, though taller riders will want to get a pair of bar risers to make stand-up riding a little more comfortable. The bike comes with an adjustable seat with a high 34.3 and low 33.5 position. The narrow rally-inspired windscreen works really well, and Honda offers a taller windscreen as an optional accessory. All the controls are well laid out, and the instrument cluster is easy to read. Finding things about the Africa Twin to gripe about takes a little bit of doing, but there are a few. My number one complaint is that the ABS traction control and DCT settings are all reset every time the bike is powered off. Getting them back to your preference can feel like you need an airplane checklist. Also, the OEM Dunlop tires that come standard don't perform as well as they could, but if you're planning serious off-road riding, you'll probably want to get a set of knobby dual sport tires anyway. Finally, if you're planning any real off-road, you'll need to outfit the bike with some engine protection. I found out the hard way that sensitive engine covers can be easily damaged during the inevitable off-road get-off. Honda is going to be offering a number of genuine accessories to add to your Africa Twin, including panniers, top box, a lower seat, and a center stand, as well as heated grips. The Africa Twin will be available for sale in June 2016 in 2 colorways, red, black and white, and silver. I asked Honda why the International Classic red, white, and blue version wasn't going to be sold here, and they said that the Ride Red racing colors have more brand recognition here in the US, but if there is demand, they would likely make those classic colors available here too. The Africa Twin is priced at $12,999 for the manual shift version. The DCT model will sell for $13,699 MSRP. Finally, the Africa Twin is really in a class of its own. Its off-road focus and legendary Honda reliability will make it an instant classic. Not only does the Africa Twin live up to the hype, it exceeds the hype by creating a whole new class of motorcycle that I call the Ultra Dual Sport.